before the day truly begins, before the world makes its demands, take this moment to breathe, to be still, to remember who your God is. Maybe you woke up today with a weight in your heart, the kind that lingers quietly beneath the surface, a silent ache for something that once was, something you lost, a dream that crumbled, a relationship that ended, an opportunity that passed you by, a season that came to a close before you were ready to let it go. And maybe the pain doesn't scream anymore, it whispers. It shows up in unexpected ways, in the way your eyes linger on an old photo, in the pause before answering when someone asks how you're doing, in the quiet moments when everything else is still and your soul starts asking questions. You've been holding it together, smiling when you need to, getting things done, keeping the faith, but deep down you wonder, has God forgotten what was taken from you? Let me remind you of something sacred this morning. What you lost is not the end of your story. God does not write in straight lines. He writes in redemption arcs. He uses brokenness as the canvas for his most beautiful work. And restoration is not just something he can do, it's part of who he is. God is a restorer, always has been, always will be. But here's what's even more powerful. When God restores, he doesn't just bring back what was lost. He multiplies. He transforms. He takes the ashes and turns them into beauty, not by simply returning what you had, but by giving you something deeper, something greater, something that could only be born through the pain. So don't despise what was taken. Don't curse the season that felt like a setback, because in the kingdom of God, nothing is ever truly lost. It is only ever planted, and like a seed buried in the dark, what you thought was the end might just be the beginning of something miraculous. It's hard to trust this when the evidence is thin, when your hands feel empty, when your heart is tired of waiting. But God is never late, and he is not absent. He's doing work you can't yet see, healing you in ways you don't fully understand, preparing blessings that exceed your imagination. Sometimes the waiting is the proving ground. It's where faith grows roots. It's where trust is refined. It's where we learn that even when we don't get what we wanted, we can still receive what we need. You see, God is not in the business of restoration just for our comfort. He restores so that his glory can be seen, so that your life can tell a story that points others back to him, so that what once looked like ruin can become a testimony of his power. And I know it's not easy to believe that in the moment, especially when the loss feels too personal, too permanent, but the God who parted the sea, who raised the dead, who spoke galaxies into being, he is the same God who stands beside you now, holding your tears, counting your sighs, promising in quiet whispers and sacred moments that this is not how it ends. So today, open your heart to the possibility that restoration is already in motion. Even if you can't see it yet, even if nothing feels different, because God's timeline is never rushed, and his blessings are never shallow. What he is preparing is bigger than what was taken, and it is rooted in love so deep it cannot be shaken by time, failure, or loss. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not being punished. You are being positioned for something greater. So pause. Close your eyes for just a moment and breathe in this truth. What the enemy meant for harm, God is already turning for good. He's working, he's weaving, he's restoring, even now. There's something sacred that happens when you choose to believe before you see, when you decide to trust that God is good, not because your circumstances say so, but because his character never changes. Faith like that, it's not blind, it's brave, and maybe this is exactly what God is teaching you in this season. Not how to reclaim what was lost, but how to become someone stronger, wiser, and more whole than you ever imagined. Because restoration is not just about getting things back. It's about getting yourself back. The version of you that was hidden beneath pain. The version of you that still dreams, that still believes, that still hopes even when hope hurts. You may be walking through a valley now, but valleys are never permanent places. They are meant to be walked through. And even in the low places, God is working. He's not waiting for you on the other side. He is with you in the middle of it all, guiding, holding, mending what you can't put into words. Sometimes, what looks like a delay is really divine protection. Sometimes the silence is actually God's mercy, shielding you from what you're not yet ready to carry. And sometimes, what you think you lost was never meant to stay, but it prepared you for something that will. If you've been measuring God's goodness by what you can see, you've missed the depth of who He is. His ways are not your ways. His thoughts go far beyond what your heart can comprehend. And while you may not understand the reason for your loss, you can rest in this. No pain is wasted when it is surrendered to God. Let Him carry what's too heavy for you. Let Him take the broken pieces and do what only a loving Father can, make them into something new. The world may not see the battles you fought in silence, the tears you cried when no one was looking, the strength it took to keep showing up. But God saw, God sees, and He rewards faithfulness, especially the kind that perseveres in the dark. So don't stop believing. Not now, not when you're this close to the breakthrough. He's not just going to bring you back to where you were, He's going to take you somewhere you've never been, a place of deeper peace, a place of higher purpose, a place where your wounds become windows for His light to shine through. You are not just being restored, you are being redefined. You are being rebuilt from the inside out. And as painful as it may feel, this is holy ground. Because even in the suffering, you're being drawn closer. And with every prayer, every surrender, every quiet yes, you are becoming someone unshakable. That's the power of God's restoration. It doesn't just patch you up, it transforms you. And when He's finished, you won't just look healed, you'll be whole. You'll carry wisdom you didn't have before, compassion that goes deeper, a heart that knows what it means to lose and still love anyway, a faith that's been tested and found true. This is how God restores, with intention, with compassion, with purpose that far outweighs the pain. And here's the beautiful part: what He's doing in you is not just for you. It's for those who will hear your story and find hope in their own waiting. It's for the hearts you'll comfort because you've been there. It's for the people who need to know that it's okay to be broken, because there is a healer who meets us there. You don't have to rush the process. You don't have to pretend it doesn't hurt. You don't have to force joy when your heart still aches. All God asks is that you trust Him with it, just enough to place it in His hands. Because when it's in His hands, it's no longer just. Brokenness, it's the beginning of something sacred. So hold on, not because you're strong enough, but because He is. And He's not done with your story, not even close. There will come a moment, maybe not today, maybe not even soon, but a moment when you'll look back and see it clearly. You'll see how God was present, even when it felt like He was silent. You'll see how the losses that broke you were actually making room for something more sacred. You'll see how He didn't abandon you in the storm. He became your anchor within it. And the strange thing is, you'll find yourself thankful, not for the pain itself, but for what it shaped in you, for who you became in the fire, for how your heart was softened, your pride undone, and your dependence on Him deepened. This is the beauty of God's restoration. It doesn't erase the past, it redeems it. It takes what was lost, what was wasted, and what was broken, and weaves it into a future only He could create. You are not just healing, you are evolving, becoming someone who knows the value of grace, who walks slower, but with more intention, who listens more, speaks with kindness, and forgives more, easily because you felt the weight of being forgiven. There's a kind of strength that only comes from seasons of loss, a gentleness that only grows in the soil of surrender, a clarity that's born when you no longer strive to control, but simply trust the one who holds it all together. And maybe that's what this season is truly about, not just getting back what you lost, but becoming the person who can carry the blessing that's coming. Because yes, restoration is coming, but it's not coming just to comfort you. It's coming to equip you, to prepare you, to position you. There is a blessing with your name on it, one that doesn't just replace what was taken but multiplies it with purpose, one that reaches beyond your needs and touches the lives of others. And when it comes, it will be clear it was worth the wait. But until then, you live by faith. You pray even when the answers are slow. You worship even when the pain lingers. You show up even when you feel unseen. And in doing so, you declare that your trust is not in what you see, but in who He is. So lift your head today, even if your heart is still healing, even if your eyes still search the horizon for hope. Lift your head not because everything makes sense, but because God is still God, and He is faithful. The same God who restores is the God who redeems time, who gives beauty for ashes, who turns mourning into dancing, who lifts the lowly and crowns them with joy. You haven't missed your moment. You haven't been left behind. God is not finished writing your story, and what's ahead is far greater than what's behind. You may not know how, you may not know when, but you can rest in the promise that He does. Let your soul exhale today. Let go of the need to have it all figured out. Trust that the hands that formed the stars are the same hands holding your tomorrow, because they are, and one day you'll stand in the light of all that was restored and realize was never just about what you lost. It was always about what you would find in Him. If these words have spoken to your heart today, take a moment to reflect. Breathe, whisper a quiet yes to God's timing. And if you feel led, share this prayer with someone who needs to be reminded they're not forgotten. Subscribe if you'd like to walk this journey of faith together. Leave a comment if you're waiting on restoration so we can lift one another in prayer. You are not alone. You are deeply loved, and your restoration is on the way.